every time I've heard God's voice, it's always been a small, still voice. And it's been cool. That was the first time. So I got up. My dad led me in a prayer to become saved. And then, in my 20s, my early 20s, I kind of walked away, got on a dark path, did some things that I'm not very proud of. But I asked for God's forgiveness and stepped back into Christianity, rededicated my life to the Lord. But before that, so the second time I really heard God's voice was when I was really living in sin. In my early 20s, God I feel like He wanted me back. He's never gonna just let one of His sheep just wander off and just get hurt. That was the second time. I remember it. I was in my cabin that me and my dad built, and I was just all alone out there, and just not really doing anything with my life. Just kind of just going to work 9 to 5, coming home, just watching TV, and it had been like that for a couple years, and just not really doing anything. And I just felt like God was saying, once again, here I am, come back to me. And it was that small, still voice again. It wasn't just a loud, audible voice, but it was like a voice inside me. Mm-hmm. And that's when I heard Him again. And I knew it was Him because I remembered in my early years, like from 8 to, early teenage years, I was on fire for Christ. And then I walked away. And I was like, I know that voice, that's my Father's voice.
Yes.
And so I walked away from that and walked into the light and so I'm glad I did. I turned away, turned to Jesus. That was the second time I heard His voice. The third time was awesome, man. It was here at Summit, whenever we was a Sunday night. So, I was just praying, Lord, just please, just at least just give me some friends, just something, some people just to connect with.
Yeah.
And so I came to Summit, was trying out just like Sunday morning service, and then they had it was a Sunday night service. I don't remember what it was called, but it was a Sunday night service. And so I came to that, and Pastor David was preaching on. I can't remember what he was preaching on, but I remember the specific part of his message. He was in prayer, and he was saying that God wanted the congregation, so each of us in the congregation, to pray specifically what we wanted in life, And so I was just kind of praying, Lord, just maybe give me some friends here and there.
Yeah.
But God was like, no, I want to know specifically, what do you want? Is it what kind of friends, or what are you looking for? Mm-hmm. And I was like, Lord, really? I want a wife. I want a family. And so after that, I connected with a lot of different people at church, mainly the worship team, and Danielle was part of that. So we connected and got to talking, and fast forward a couple days, and so me and Danielle were in my living room talking, and I asked her, or she asked me, she was like, what did you pray for whenever Pastor David was saying, what is what are you specifically asking God for? I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I prayed for a wife. And she was like, no way, I prayed for a husband. And so, just from there, it's just God He knows exactly where we need to be, the exact time when we need to be there. And it's just, He works things out. It may seem like the waiting is long and excruciating, but God is worth the wait, man. So that was the third time I heard God's voice, and it's just awesome to hear His small, still voice just directing you perfectly on His path. And it's just, I love that about our God, man. He'll speak to us. Yes. And He'll guide us, especially when we need it most. Can't thank Jesus enough for what He did on the cross, man. It's just it's so great that we have a God that's so sacrificial, and that he sacrificed so much to leave his heavenly home and just come here and just, you know, take on human flesh in such a lowly position of how great he is to reduce himself down to us so that we can relate with him. And that man, it's just awesome that we serve a God like that, and that we can relate with him in that way.